All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. It's Rise and Grind Morning Show. It is Tuesday, June 4th already, 2024. And I apologize about missing yesterday. Had some crazy nerve pain shooting down my left arm and had to go get it checked out. So be working on getting healthy, man. That is big goal for this year because there's just too many things that keep creeping up as you're getting older. And battling cancer was hard enough, but man, all these little things that keep creeping up. But yeah, I can't feel my left arm that well, but we'll hopefully get some answers this Thursday. So this morning, I've got Eric Rintamaki joining me this morning, as usual, here for the Rise and Grind Morning Show. We're going to talk about defensive line for the Detroit Lions. Bradrick Martin had some key things to say and what the impact has already been of DJ Reader, which, I expected for him to be impactful and to be helpful, but it's been taken to a new level. And I think that, once you hear, maybe you've already heard, but once you hear what DJ Reader has come to the table with to help this young man in Bradrick Martin and the defense as a whole, I think it's a bit surprising. It's exactly the reason why Dan Campbell and AG were so hot on bringing DJ Reader to this team. There is more that we keep finding out about these picks that or these selections or these free agents that, make their way onto this team that are really surprising me each and every day, that how good they really are, not just as players, but as people and especially as professionals and teammates. Just makes sense. This team is really heading in the right way. But before I get off on a tangent, good morning, Eric. How you doing today?
Fantastic, man. So after months and months of waiting, I finally got something in the mail yesterday. I did not get my Betts jersey or my Sewell jersey, but I did get this.
Oh, the Dan Campbell.
No, this one's 86, and look what it says on the back.
Oh, the Uperlights one. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I got that one. And then I got the Dan Campbell and the Brian Branch in the mail. And these are all stitched. They're awesome, and they fit great. And there we go. Campbell on the back. So, yeah, everything is absolutely stitched on these. They fit perfect. They're awesome. And
Love it,
got these ones from Yes Jersey, one of the reputable places, not that fake Fanatics that gave me a T-shirt for the price of that.
Well, just a little disclaimer. So those are they're made by a company. They're not actual NFL jerseys, right?
Yeah, they're replicas.
Yeah. So I mean, they're cool. I don't know the legality with that stuff, but hey, if they're able to sell them, great. Cool stuff, man. I want to get me a Campbell jersey. I think that when they wore those at the draft, that
I had to have one.
Why did they not put that one out?
Yeah, I don't know.
They should have had that one launched, day one. But
yeah, I had to custom order this Campbell one because nobody makes it. Nobody.
Well, and the Lions said that when I called the custom shop that they weren't going to be doing any customizations until this fall. And I'm like, how could you not have material till this? Because they said there's no material. How could they not have material till this fall? But whatever, we could have at least been able to put it in order, so it could have, got
the Lions aren't even putting out the all stitched jerseys yet either. It's all the print on vinyl. Yeah. They're not even doing the stitched, as far as I know, at all yet.
I love the stitched jerseys. I mean, I don't have a ton of them. I usually get one. And speaking of cool things, so I reached out to Glover Quinn yesterday. I don't know that I've got a reply. I should probably check. So part of the trips that we're doing this year includes a raffle ticket. So everybody gets a raffle ticket when you purchase your trip. And it's to go to all the Lions, away games. We got 6 trips set up. So part of that is the raffle, right? And I'm doing custom Lions memorabilia. And it's going to be something that's like 1 of 1 type stuff, or 1 of 6 type stuff that nobody else will have. And I reached out to see. I mean, he does such an amazing job with those frames that he's building and artwork that he does. I never knew that he was so talented, but if you ever get a chance to go out and check Glover Quinn's artwork, I'll post a link at some point in the description. But man, he does excellent work, and I'm hoping that we can work together on this, because I think that it would be absolutely incredible to be able to get his artwork as part of this tour every year. It'd be really cool. But anyway, let's get rolling. So we missed out on a segment yesterday because we didn't go on. called Over Under. And it's our new segment that we're going to do on Mondays, but I figured let's touch on a little bit of it today. So right away, Detroit Lions over under 8.5 wins. I feel like 8.5 is a bit low. I think that this one's a pretty easy one. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to go over under 11.5 wins for the Lions this upcoming season. What does everybody feel in the chat? Lions are going to get plus or minus over under 11.5 wins for the Lions. Eric, what do you think?
Well, there's one thing about this time of year, and it's always everything is sunshine and rainbows time of year. And every player we'll talk about is the best, and every person on the list is the best, and every team is going to hit this goal, but not everybody hits it all. The thing about this Lions team, though, I don't think they're going to have a big fall back this year. I just don't see it this year. So I am over. I'm going to say between 12 and 15 wins. And I predicted 15 when we did our breakdown of how many wins the Lions are going to get. So I definitely think the Lions are going to be over. I say they hit somewhere between 12 and 15 wins. Because seriously, if they can just do one game better than last year, 13 wins, and that's where we should have been. We should have been 13 wins last year. We did win that Dallas game. I don't care what anyone says. We won that game. The refs took it away after they already gave us the game. So we're good.
You were over, right?
Yes, I'm over for sure.
So shout out to everyone in the chat this morning. We got Mile Marker 301 who'll be back soon. We got Rick, Tracy, we got King SJ. Who else is in here? Bucky's in the house. Thanks for the prayers, Bucky. Appreciate it. Michael, Luques or Lukes. I always butcher your last name, Michael. I apologize. So King SJ says 11.5 is a much tighter over under. I'm thinking in the 11 to 12 win range. I'm definitely over on this. I think that there's no way that the Lions win less than 12 games this season. I think that they match what they did last year and improve upon what they did last year. And I think a lot of that is because of a segment or a topic that I'm going to do potentially tonight about a player that is becoming that number 2 guy that we really need. And his name is Jameson Williams. So I think that this season is, and I hate to say it, but I think that this season is going to really hinge upon Jameson Williams' development this year. If we do not have a true number 2 wide receiver, if none of these guys can step up to the plate and fill in for at least what Reynolds did last year and more, we're going to be in trouble. Because the thing that Reynolds did was, he gave you a competent wide receiver that was pretty darn good downfield, was able to stretch the field, pretty solid hands, always counted on and trusted by Jared Goff, always in the right position. And we don't have that yet, so to speak. So if JMO can step into that role, which it sounds like he's already earning it, then I think we're fine. If we don't have that true number 2, then we're more one-dimensional with wide receivers with only St. Brown, which you can scheme against one wide receiver. I don't care how good you are. You can scheme against one wide receiver. We did it to Justin Jefferson a couple seasons ago. And then you've got LaPorta. So it also is going to hinge upon Gibbs. Is Gibbs going to be utilized in the slot more? Is he going to be utilized as a pass catcher more? So I think that the offensive side of the ball might have more questions than answers to start the season. But as long as JMO gets it together, I think that we'll be okay. So I'm definitely over on the wins. What if
the defense brings up their game enough to make up for what we lost with Reynolds going away? We get that one interception, we get that one defensive stop that we didn't get last year. So if the offense does go backwards a little bit, still in the top 5, top 10 offense, but our defense moves from 25th or whatever it was up to 10 or 15. There we go.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point. So if you improve one side of the ball, obviously it's going to improve, the team overall, right? So
Mhm.
I do believe that, yeah, those turnovers are what's going to help us. If we don't get a bunch of turnovers, it's kind of hard to help the offense. More stops help, of course, but getting those turnovers and giving the offense more opportunities, and stopping the other team from even having a potential of scoring a field goal, I think is very beneficial. So Michael had a question. Are you guys thinking Brad just rolls over the majority of the available 40 million for future contracts? I kind of said that the other day. I really felt that he would probably roll over as much of it as possible. Um, I think that there's limits, or at least you have to let the NFL know ahead of time how much you're planning on rolling over. I can't remember the numbers for all of that, or if they've made changes to that, but there used to be limits on how much you could roll over, and teams had to spend all but 10% every year of the salary cap. So I think that we'll have to define what those limits are, what those terms are. And if you guys know what they are, then yeah, please post it. Um, I just haven't gone in to do the research just yet, but I would say yes. I would think that the majority of the money, if it all could be rolled over, I think it will be. I think that he's obviously going to save a little bit of a rainy day fund just because they do. I mean, they have to have it. They have to have it. So Michael also asked, some fans think trading for Higgins is possible. I just don't see Brad doing that. I don't see that
Mhm.
happening either. I think that would be big time detrimental to this team and its future, because you can't afford two top tier contracts in the wide receiver room. You just can't. At any position, it's really hard to do. To have two top tier wide receiver contracts would just be too much money. So second one, Jared Goff passing yards. So the question was over or under 4,000, and I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that because I feel like 4,400 is the floor for Goff this year, especially with what he did last year and the year before. So I'm going to go over under 4,400. Over under 4,400 passing yards for Jared Goff. Let me explain. Um, what do you throw? 4,500, 173 or something like that. 45, yeah, 45, 173 last year, somewhere in that range. And he did that with two running backs that one went for over 1,000, the other one went just near 1,000 on the ground. So over 7,000 yards, I believe, in total offense. There's no reason why he can't do it again. Now we only have to make up about 700 yards for Josh Reynolds. I think that could be done. It could be done partly on the ground, but I do believe that it'll be done through the air. So over under 4,400 passing yards for Jared Goff. I'm definitely on the over here.
I'm just barely on the over. I believe that Goff will have just about the same as last year, maybe just a little bit less, because he had 45-75 for yards passing last year, I
Yeah,
believe.
45-75. There we go. Yep.
Yeah. And so I think maybe he hits just right around 40, yeah, maybe 45-ish. So maybe he steps back just a little bit on how much he's throwing the ball, because maybe we're running the ball a little bit more, because now we have Gibbs and Monty in year 2 for both of them in this system. We have Zeitler, who is going to be our right guard now. And, so these guys can run block, and that might really help our ground game more.
So I'm in the boat that I think our run game is going to be much better this year, and that's really scary to think, right? I think that when you look at the offensive line overall, we're better. We are better up and down that line. I believe 1,000% that Graham Glasgow is a better guard than Jonah Jackson. I believe that Zeitler is a better guard than Jonah Jackson. Clearly, he has been. Now he's a little bit older, but I believe, even if you look at the PFF grades, as much as you want to trust PFF, if you look at the grades from last year, Glasgow was better than Jackson. And now that he's over on the left side and he played all up and down the line last year and did just fine, just, everywhere he was, I think that, we have continuity and we're bringing in, an older vet that's still playing at a top tier level. There's no reason why this offensive line can't produce more yards on the ground. And if we are running the ball, like you said, more efficiently, then that does limit the pass. And we do have to remember too that we're one of the best play action pass teams in the league. So running the ball is critical to get that going. So I could see the point. I just feel like once we start running the ball, it's going to open up the pass.
And also, what if we have a lead in the fourth quarter? What are you going to do when you have a lead with 15 minutes left? You're going to run the ball more. So I'm expecting the Lions to have more of a lead and be up on teams a little bit more. Like I said, we're always going to win by 17 points every game. So if we do have a big lead, I think they're going to run the ball a lot more.
Yeah. Rick says offensive line is pretty dinged up this past season. You know, we've gone through a few tumultuous seasons here with the offensive line being dinged up. And Hank Fraley does an excellent job. The offensive line does an excellent job, you know, having guys ready, the right game plan, still being able to put things together. So it would just be fun to watch our offensive line stay healthy for the full season. I know that's a big what if, right? I mean, injuries happen all the time. I mean, every game you're getting dinged up somewhere. But yeah, it'd be nice to see our offensive line stay healthy an entire season. And if it did, I think sky's the limit. I mean, we could see some records broken with both of these running backs. Michael has another a great statement here. He says, I do wonder if a better defense changes how often Goff throws the ball. That could lead to an under for passing yards. Great statement, because if the defense is playing out of their mind, yeah, we might be more apt to run the ball and kill clock, especially if we have a large enough lead. I do believe that Dan Campbell likes to press the gas and keep things rolling. I have found that when you stop pressing the gas and you get comfortable, that's when you lose games. And that used to be the Lions' Achilles heel all the time. That we'd get up, we'd get a lead, and next thing you know, we lose it. We lose the game, we lose the lead. The offense sputters out because they went into, you know, kind of just hanging out mode, you know, just kind of doing the least that they could do. But it was too many 3 and outs. We weren't able to push the ball. So I still believe you have to push the ball, at least get it to the other side of the field before you start to just, you know, slow it down, run the ball, you know, get some chunk plays. But yeah, it's a great point, Michael. Next, over under. Aiden Hutchinson. Been a lot of talk on Aiden Hutchinson this season and his sack totals. We've heard from Dan Campbell that sacks are not the end all be all. He's not concerned about getting more sacks. He's more concerned about maintaining pressure. Clearly, sacks are fun, right? It's a great stat line. They're fun to watch, but it doesn't mean everything. It's not something that defines your defense. I think that the defense is more defined by how well they play collectively. And I think that this year we're going to see the sack numbers spread out a little bit. I think everyone, like I said the other day, is going to get their hand in that cookie jar. How many cookies are they pulling out? Over under on Aiden Hutchinson, 12 and a half. You think he's over or under 12 and a half sacks for 2024?
I think he's right at 12 and a half. And the thing is, I don't want to see sacks that it's Aiden just running over and touching the guy on the shoulder pad like you did with Stafford. I don't want easy sacks. I want a strip sack fumble. That's the ones I want, where he's getting around the edge, getting the quarterback's arm and forcing that ball out. That's the kind of sacks I want to see. And I wouldn't mind seeing 12 and a half of those. Just a sack where he's running up and touching the guy on the shoulder pad. I could care less how many he gets of those. I want to see real sacks. I wish that they had a stat for strip sack fumble, or where it causes a turnover. That's more what I want to see, or a detriment to the offense, not just run up and touch him on the shoulder pad and, oh, he got a sack.
Yeah. So that's why stats, you know, they're a great way to identify how your team is playing. You still have to follow the eye test, right? If you blindly follow stats, you can have this false narrative about your team. So when you look at, you know, Aiden Hutchinson last year and how many sacks he had, you'd be like, man, he had a great season. He did have a great season. But if you didn't watch any of the games and didn't realize that, you know, 3 of those sacks were basically, you know, touchdown, you know, touching the player down. you would think that he had, an excellent season, which he did, an excellent sack season, I should say. So, and then that happens. I mean, even in his first year, I think he had 3 or 4 sacks that were just kind of, anybody's going to get the sack. And they awarded him the sack. And I'm not picking on him this morning. It's just, being real about it. Sometimes sacks are, what they are. The quarterback kneels down. He's got to get touchdown. He's behind the line. It's a sack. And it happens. But I love your energy here. You want 12 strip sack fumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had 1 all of last year.
Yeah,
And
if
I
you're
think
gonna
that was
do it
against
right.
It was against Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
that
are
was
the
the
best
game winner.
those
That
are
was
the best
awesome. That one. That was really good.
Yeah, that those are very rare. I'd love to see a couple more too. That'd be great. So DJ Reader, last season was having a great season till his injury. He accumulated about 34 tackles through week 14. Now that was 20 solo, 14 assisted, so 34 combined. Over under DJ Reader gets 50 tackles combined this season.
Ooh,
I think, look, if I were to go out on a limb here, based on how our run defense played last year and how well they played, I don't think that there's a reason why he can't be a tackle leader on this team. He's a run stuffer. And I doubt that teams are going to want to run his direction, which may limit his stats. The only thing I really want from DJ Reader is for him to be disruptive. I want him to take on double teams and be disruptive. Stats be damned. I don't care about stats. Some of the best defensive tackles don't have great stats. And that's because teams don't want to run towards you, right? They don't want anything to do with you. So it kind of limits, your ability in the stat lines, but it really helps the other players around them collect the stats. So over under 50 for DJ Reader.
I'll say under because I think they are going to avoid him at all costs, double team him at all costs. And you're going to have other guys like Aleem and Hutch and Davenport. They're going to be picking up the slack for that. So those guys will get all the tackles, but that's fine. Reader can just take the double, triple teams up the middle and let everybody else have the sacks. He's going to be a good team player.
Yeah, I think it's all team this year, man. I mean, it was last year, but I really believe that we're going to see a collective energy from this unit this year. I think that you're going to see more guys get more involved. I call it, the hive defense where everybody's kind of working together as worker bees, right? Doesn't matter who got the honey. It doesn't matter who's doing what. They're all working together for one goal, and that's to win the damn game. And that's to stop the opponent. So I think that when you stop playing selfishly and the team is unselfish, which is something that Dan Campbell preaches each and every day, we're here to play unselfishly. And even to JMO's credit, the other day where he said that he finally has matured a little bit. It's not about him. It's about the team. And he finally realized that. And that's coming from Dan Campbell preaching it each and every year. So it's now affected Jameson. He understands what his job has to be as a teammate, not an individual. So, for the defensive side of the ball, I think it'll be more of a collective. I think each and every player is going to kind of get their hand in the cookie jar, like I've said a few times. And DJ Reader doesn't have to have 50, tackles to be successful. But I do believe that there's an opportunity for him to have a great season as long as he stays healthy. I'm going to go with the under. Here. Question by Casey. Casey says, what's the conversion options versus sacks? That's a great question. And I do not have those numbers in front of me. But what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and write that question down. And if you guys do want questions answered during some of the morning shows, just email info@rockdownpodcastnetwork.com. I'm going to set up 2 emails today. And we'll get a morning show mailbag email, and then we'll get a off the cuff podcast email going that you guys can send in questions. That way we can do the work and have it ready for you. So Casey, we'll get that question answered. That's a great topic. I think that you'd be surprised at what you find out. Michael says, I do think Aleem will have a bigger sack number this year. So more than 5 sacks for Aleem McNeil is a great season. It's a really great season. And do you think that that's a direct result of DJ Reader, Michael? Is that what you're thinking here? I think that DJ Reader is going to have an effect on a lot of these players. And Bradrick Martin is one of them. We're going to talk about Bradrick Martin here in just a few moments. Lions points per game. Over under 25 points per game for the Lions offense. So if I were to look at last season, I think we were right around 25-7 or something like that. No, 27-1.
Mm-hmm.
We had 27.1 points per game last year, and I think the year before was 26, maybe 25. Let's take a look here. So Lions 27.1 points per game last year, and 26.6 in 22. At home, the Lions scored 29.9 points per game. Away, we scored 24.8 points per game. So clearly we play better at home. What do you think? You think we're going to average more than 25 points per game in 2024? If so, why?
I'll say 26. I'll say we won't do quite as much as last year because we won't have to, because our defense is going to be better. And Gino said, dang, his mic is really loud. So hopefully that was my mic that was really loud. And I think I might have fixed it. Yeah.
Which mic? Because mine was really hot the other day.
Yeah, I turned mine down a little bit. So we're a little more even now. So hopefully
can you guys give us an audio check and just let us know how our volume compares and if mine's really hot? Because it's been hot. And I don't know why.
I think it's good today. I think mine was a little too much.
It always sounds good in my headphones, but when I would listen back to the show, it was really loud. Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Mike B's a little late today. That's all right. So were we.
So mine is slightly loud. Okay, let me turn down my level just a little bit. All right. Hopefully that helps. Let me just check one other setting. Turn the compressor up just a little bit.
Eric is quieter. Okay, I'll turn it back to where I had it. There, hopefully that's better. You know what time this is today? It's Gremlins time.
Oh, you can't say that word. We don't have Gremlins.
I bought one.
A little bit of noise. That's all. All right, so we'll leave it alone for right now. I'll just have to do some testing offline. All right, so next up, Jahmyr Gibbs. So look, I'm expecting a big year from Jahmyr Gibbs. I really think that 1,500 yards all purpose is his goal. Like, that's the goal that I have for him. I think that if he can get 1,100 yards on the ground, at least 400 or 500 through the air, I think that'd be an excellent season number 2 for Jahmyr Gibbs. So the question is kind of threefold here. Over under 1,000 yards rushing from Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's an easy one to answer. He should have had 1,000 last year. Yep. And then over under 500 yards passing for Jahmyr Gibbs. The combined over under of 1,500 AP on the season. So 3 questions. Over under 1,000 rushing for Jahmyr Gibbs. Over under 500 yards passing for Jahmyr Gibbs. Over under 1,500 yards AP for Jahmyr Gibbs here in 2024. Over. This year, Gibbs is hitting the ground running right from the very start, right from the very beginning. There's no having to acclimate and get his chance, because he really didn't get the chance to show what he could do until the Tampa game when Montgomery went down. When Montgomery went down, that was his chance, and he hit the ground and hit it running. And up until that point, if you remember, he was only getting a couple plays per game. They were like really saving him. They weren't putting him in a serious rotation.
it was a lot of just use him sparsely until he could learn. I think he was learning the offense still. And this year, hit the ground running. He knows everything. It's time to go. I'm going to say over on all three.
So I'm definitely going over. I think the 1,500 yards AP is the bench. I do believe that 1,000 yards shouldn't be a problem this year for Jahmyr Gibbs on the ground. And I mean, he was only 150 or so yards away from 500 passing last year. The thing for me is what Scotty said, Scotty Montgomery, that everything clicked for Gibbs well before we seen it click. So we watched it kind of click in that Tampa Bay game. I think it was week 5, maybe week 6. Things really started to work out for Gibbs. He was hitting the ground running, literally playing very well. But Scotty said it really started to develop for him weeks prior to that. It just wasn't showing up in the game. Now, part of that is because he wasn't getting as many looks as David Montgomery. And I think that, part of that was probably nerves. He's a rookie and he had to settle in. He had to dial it in. So I'm going to go over. If there was a way to go at, I would say that, I think 1,500 yards would be a great season for him. So one more here. Let's do Amon-Ra St. Brown. And no, we'll do two more. Amon-Ra St. Brown, over under 90 receptions for Amon-Ra St. Brown this year, along with 1,500 yards. So over under 90 receptions and 1,500 yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, easy over 100 for the receptions. I'll go over 100 because we lost Josh Reynolds. So he might end up getting even more receptions this year. And as far as yards go, I'm going to say he gets 1,400. So I'm going to say under for 1. So under on the yards, but he's going to be over 100 receptions.
So over on the receptions, under on the yards.
Yeah.
So this is a tough one for me because Amon-Ra lives, eats, and breathes kind of over the middle, right? And that can be a detriment to yak yards. If he's catching more passes, I believe, on the boundary, I think that he'll get more yak. If he's doing more slants, crossers, I think that he'll get more yak. But if he's doing some of these hook ins and curls and kind of settling in, like the go win route, like that's a 10-yard play, you got to kind of limit what he's able to do after the catch. So I think that if he's under 1,500 yards, it's not a big deal. It just can't be a ton under. I think that his production is going to be highly coveted this season. I mean, it is every season, but not just because he got paid. It's just because we need it, right? I mean, we can't have Amon-Ra St. Brown have a bad season and this offense still do what it did last year unless somebody else steps up. I just don't have all the confidence in the world that multiple players are going to step up just yet. Haven't seen him in training camp. So I'll go under on the yards. I'm sorry. I'm going to go under. Yeah. Under on the yards. I'm going to go over on the receptions. I think he'll be right at around 100 receptions this year. I don't think that he's going to need as many receptions this year. I think that the offense is going to be more balanced. I think that we're going to see more running, more of a rushing attack. So I'm going to go over on the receptions, under on the yards. J Mommy says Holmes said that they wanted to get Gibbs more involved in the passing game. Man, we really wanted to see that last year. There was a lot of talk about it. Didn't happen as much as we had hoped. So this next one, interceptions, Lions interceptions, 2023. The Detroit Lions had not enough. We only had 7 interceptions last year.
Oh, man.
7. Now, when I look at the league leaders, we are at the bottom. The Bears had 22. The Niners had 22. The Ravens, 18. The Bills, 18. The Jets, I'm sorry, we had 16. The Jets had 17. Yeah, I don't know where that number came from. The Jets had 17. The Lions had 16. So we were kind of right in the middle, maybe a little north of the middle. top third, if you will. So over under, the Lions have 15 interceptions this year. I'm going to change that to 16. Over under, we have 16 interceptions this year.
Okay. Seeing as I just made an awesome bet on Terrion Arnold. So his over under was 2.5 interceptions this year. So I bet the over with 3. And I think that with him, Rakestraw, Carlton Davis, Amik Roberts, I think you are going to see some really, really good DB play that's going to free up the safeties like Brian Branch to do whatever they want to do. And it's going to make for a lot more interceptions, I think, this year. And these guys have hands. You know, it's not going to be just Vildor bouncing off his helmet. If Arnold's in there, he's going to catch the darn thing. So that's my thing. I'm going to say we have 20. I'm going to say we have 20 as a team this year.
Okay. I'm definitely taking the over here, and there's a reason why. So I came across some information. I'm not going to share it because tonight is when you're going to be able to see it on Terrion Arnold. And this is probably, I mean, it was a goofy video, but one of the best things that I've seen yet from a Brad Holmes draft pick was this video that I came across. You guys are gonna love it. You're absolutely gonna. Terrion Arnold is a man amongst boys at his age. This kid has got his head screwed on so tight, facing the right direction. Sky's the limit for this dude. What an excellent pick. The more and more I keep learning about Terrion Arnold, the more and more you just fall in love with the guy. And I don't mean that by that sense of the word, but it's you really love everything that he's doing, everything that he's about, who he is as a person, but even more so as a player and a teammate. So the things that he's doing personally, the things that he believes in personally, really reside with what Dan Campbell believes in personally and how the rest of the team and the unit wants to do things collectively. And he's got it, man. I mean, he's got it from day one. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. Talking about showing up on time. Terrion Arnold said guys like to show up 5 minutes early and they think that they're early. No, you're not early until you're at least an hour early. Don't mess with people's time, is what he said. Don't mess with people's time. He made an analogy to going out on a date. He said, if you set a time for a date at 8 p.m. and she's taken all this time to get, all propered up, right? Primped up, whatever the term is, getting ready for you, and you show up at 8:10, you ain't going on that date. Forget it. Because she wants you there on time. So you better be there, not too early, right? But you better be there on time and early. So he gets it, man. He totally gets it. Exciting information about Terrion Arnold just keeps coming out. And when I share it tonight, we'll have a nice little conversation about it. So we'll do off the cuff tonight, 8 p.m. Might start at 7:30, but just turn on notifications. Please do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this video. Let's try to get it up to, at least 66 likes. We got at least 66 people in. Let's try to get it up. Help share it. That helps out the channel. And we'll get it in tonight. We'll start around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'll post it here once we get off the morning show. So the question is interceptions. I'm going with the over. I think that the Lions may not be league leaders this year. I'm going to go as far as to say that the Lions could be in the top 5 for teams with interceptions this year. Now, there could be a lot of teams that have the same amount of interceptions that artificially, prop that up, but that's where I'm going to sit with it. So next up, we're going to be talking about Bradrick Martin. Eric, do you have anything that you want to share this morning? I'm going to go grab some coffee since Tracy's talking about coffee. I appreciate the donation to buy me a coffee. I'm going to go grab some more coffee. And while I'm doing that, Eric's going to have free reign here.
Yeah, well, I am going to be off for a week starting tomorrow, I'm going to Las Vegas. So if there's anything cool I should be doing in Las Vegas, you guys let me know. Someone told me on one of my social medias that I should put a lion sticker somewhere out in Las Vegas for everyone to go see, and they can prove that they went there and take a picture of it or something. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So maybe I'll put a lion sticker somewhere. I'm going to the Sphere, taking my wife to see Dead and Company at the Sphere. We got VIP tickets. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And I'm kind of thinking about going and taking a tour of Allegiant Stadium. It costs like $75 a person. I know the wife won't want to go, but if I can squeeze it in this week in Vegas, I'd really like to go see that stadium. I've never been to Vegas, their stadium anyway. I've been to Vegas once back in 2015, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to be gone for a week, but I will be back, and it's going to be the trip of a lifetime. Let me tell you, we're going to do a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
All right, we're back. I heard you talking about some trips, I think.
Yep. So I'm going to Vegas, leaving tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and I'll be back Wednesday the 12th.
Awesome, man. I hope you have a good time out there.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I was saying I might go take a tour of Allegiant Stadium if I have time out there in Las Vegas. I've heard that's a really, really nice stadium.
I have not been there personally. I do not know.
No, I just like to check it out.
All right, so let's talk about some Bradrick Martin. So I'm going to bring in his media session here. And why this is important, let me pull this out here. Why this is important is because of what we're going to hear. Now, Eric found some information too about DJ Reader and the impact that he's already having on Bradrick Martin. So we're going to roll this. I might have to rewind it a little bit. Let me know you guys can hear it okay. But I'll start, kind of narrate in between, and then we'll talk about it all when we're done.
Being out there for the opener and making a big play against Kansas City, and it ended up being more the developmental year that they kind of had talked about from the year. Like, just what was the challenges mentally for you?
Uh-oh, I think we might have lost Will.
No idea what just happened.
Gremlins.
Did we get booted off? See, you said the Gremlins word, dude. I think we should be back.
Yeah, everybody says, "Uh-oh, what happened?" Yeah, the video was playing for a second, and then everything froze.
Hold on a second. 1 second here. Yeah, it froze. I don't know what happened. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna play the video. I'll have to play it later. I'll just do a video on it. So I'll do a video after this about this whole section. But in a nutshell, here's what Bradrick Martin had to say. And I'll let Eric speak to some of it too. That DJ Reader has been very impactful. Bradrick Martin, number one. Well, DJ Reader's been very impactful so far, right? Right away. Number one. Number two, Bradrick Martin has changed his body composition in the offseason. Number three, he really needed, the offseason to kind of get himself together. He didn't have a full offseason. And that's the hardest thing for rookies is when they come into the league, they don't really have a break. It goes from college ball, right into the combine, and then right into rookie, mini camp, and then OTAs, and then training camp, and then it's the season's there. They really don't have any time to get ready. And for a developmental guy, it was just going to take a little bit more time for him to get it together. And now with Terrell Williams coming in, what Bradrick Martin has basically said, and I've got to pull this up here. Give me 1 second. 1 second here. I want to pull in the exact quote. So Dan Campbell said this. He said he's improving. Look, the kid wants it. He's working and he's improving. He's another guy. We've just got to get him reps. And training camp is going to be pivotal for him with the pads on. Clearly, Martin barely played as a rookie. He spent most of his debut season as a healthy scratch. He only logged 28 defensive snaps last year. In many ways, it was an unofficial redshirt season for him. But at 6'5", 330 pounds, he was carrying a lot of extra baby fat, is what I refer to it. He was not in the best shape yet. That takes time. Season 3, look at Aiden Hutchinson. Look how much better he looks from season 1 to season 3. You have to expect the same thing from, a Bradrick Martin, that it's just going to take him some time to get his body into the right shape. Here's the most impactful quote I think that I had found about this entire deal with Terrell Williams. And this came from Bradrick Martin. It was in that video. He said, he's coached guys like me. He understands what I need and what I need to do. He's really helping me out a lot. So the early coaching points from Williams have focused on improving Martin's hand usage and upping his aggression. That meshes with Terrell Williams' philosophy up front, which he summed up with a single word, being violent. Look, this is a perfect marriage, in my opinion. Bringing in a guy like Terrell Williams, who's worked with a lot of guys like Bradrick Martin, some of these up and comers, guys that just take a little bit of time to develop. And the fact that Bradrick Martin has recognized just how impactful this signing is going to be, I think it speaks volumes. So Martin also had this to say about DJ Reader. He said, he's been helping me out. I don't sit beside him in a room just because he has to do his training stuff. But when I talk to him, he already watched the film on me and all that. He let me know what I need to do, what I need to get better on, and how I look at stuff. He's a good vet to have, a good person. I'm glad he's here. Now, Eric, you also had found some things about this DJ Reader, that quote being one of them. What was your take on how impactful DJ Reader has been with Martin so far?
Yeah. So Corey Woods wrote a really good interview and story about Bradrick Martin on M Live. And he wrote, after experiencing limited playing time during his rookie season, Detroit Lions defensive lineman Bradrick Martin dedicated his offseason to being in his peak physical form for the start of training camp. And then he goes on to talk about Martin and DJ Reader. And DJ Reader and Martin had never met each other, never met before. And DJ Reader comes in the room and he's already done everything that a veteran could do, said Martin. He's been helping me out. I don't sit beside him in the room just because he has to do his training stuff. But when I talk to him, he's already been watching film on me and all that. He lets me know what I need to do and what I need to do to get better at. So there's a veteran that came in the room before he even met him. He's already watched tape on Martin in college and Martin with the Lions. And he's letting this kid know, this is what you need to do better. So if he's doing that for Martin, I'm sure he's done that for all the other guys on the line. And he's already a player coach. And I read another story that DJ Reader already had this big giant folder that he brought into his first meeting. And it had all the defensive plays from every Lions game last year. and he would write down what went right, what went wrong. And he basically already has mastered this defense. So they almost don't even have to teach the guy. He's coming in as a player coach almost. And to me, that's incredible. That's just going to get him off and running that much faster.
So there's a lot to unpack here, right? I mean, I've never heard, I mean, maybe you just don't hear about it, but I've never heard of a free agent that takes all of his time in the offseason, gets signed, right? Takes his time in the offseason to review all of the tape on the previous year's rookie reach is what they called it.
Yeah.
Bradrick Martin, and comes with a notebook of notes and says, look, this is what you need to do. You know, here's what I noticed about your play. I watched all your college tape, and this is what I noticed. This is what you need to do. And it doesn't come off as like, you know, like, who's this guy? You know, why is he telling me what to do? No, Martin said, man, this is exactly what I needed. And you're marrying that up with Terrell Williams too. He's got two really good guys in his ear. And then DJ Reader's obviously, you know, going to go in line with what Williams is saying as well. But he's got two really good guys in his ear that are trying to coach him up, teach him everything that he needs to know, get him up to speed. And why is that? Why would another defensive tackle want to do that for a guy that could potentially take his job someday? I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's because he wants to win. It's because DJ Reader is a very good teammate. It's because he wants this team to be successful. He does not want to play next to a guy that can't hold his own, right? So when they're working together, it's because when they're in, it's win mode. They want to win a championship. And how do you do that? Every single guy on this team has to work together. And you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if Bradrick Martin is the weakest link, then that's a problem. So he doesn't want any weak links. He wants Bradrick Martin to get over the hump, to get on the field and be able to contribute, because you never know with injuries. You never know what's going to happen. Bradrick is going to get called up to play. He's got to be able to play. So to not have any let off in the game between the guys, he has to be able to play at a higher level. This excites me to no end. I mean, the fact that DJ Reader took this time to do this for Bradrick Martin, came in prepared not only for himself, for the entire defensive front in Bradrick Martin's plan, if you will, to get better. So the pick, like I said earlier, the picks, the free agents, the selections, the re-signings, the extensions, whatever Brad Holmes does, it is very intentional. Like he said, he brought DJ Reader in for a reason, and we're starting to see what these reasons are. Player coach, that's a great way to put it, Eric. He has come in ready to be a confidant, take this guy underneath his wings, and away they go. The only one thing that I would say outside of this, like there's another guy named Wingo that the Lions picked up this year. I think that Wingo has an opportunity to probably play more, be better than Bradrick Martin right away. But it's kind of a different position, right? When you look at defensive linemen, into mile marker 301's point, you know, he wanted to see another nose tackle added to this team. Even though we're in a 4-3 scheme and we don't run a nose tackle like a 3-4, he's nose tackle size, you know, 6'5", 350. That's nose tackle size. That's a big boy, right? They have to move differently. So Wingo's more of an outside guy. He's more of an outside hybrid defensive tackle / defensive end. He's not as fast as most defensive ends, but he can also get interior pressure better than most defensive tackles because of his size and his agility. That's something that we're probably not going to see a whole lot with Bradrick Martin. He's more of a run stuffing type of a tackle. And we have to identify these guys by their skill set, right? You can't lump everybody into the same box. You just can't. That would not be a very smart way to approach this. So Ali McNeil, with his body type, should be more of a pass rushing defensive tackle. And I think that he's kind of shown us the ability to do that this last season. If he gets in even better shape this season, it could get even better alongside of DJ Reader. His sack numbers come up, to your point earlier, or somebody's point earlier. And then you look at DJ Reader and Bradrick Martin being those anchor guys, those guys that can stuff the run. So that's kind of your overall here on Bradrick Martin and the guys that are next to him, around him, coaching him. Any other points you want to make on Bradrick Martin today?
No, not really.
So the signing of DJ Reader, we knew that when DJ Reader was signed to a 2-year contract, he was already known for what he's been doing with the Bengals. Size, strength, versatility. He brought a proven track record of really being a run disruptor to this team. Applies great pressure on quarterbacks through the center of a defense or the center of the offense, either way you want to look at it. And that is something that Aaron Glenn speaks highly of, right? Is being able to get interior pressure. And it's something that I've always believed in. When I coached, which young guys, young kids, nothing, not college or anything like that. It was interior pressure for me. It was having interior pressure and then the guys in the back, the DBs being able to hold their own. And we're starting to see that come alive in Detroit. We're starting to see glimpses of a 2014 defense where we had 2 really great, solid pass rushing, run stuffing defensive tackles, and then some lockdown corners and safeties that could hold their own and limit what the passing game was able to do. I know it sounds weird, but you have to make the quarterback hold the ball. They have to hold the ball longer. People would say, well, why do you want him to hold the ball? He's going to be able to, find the open receiver. Well, the hope is that he's holding the ball because nobody's open. And then you're giving the defensive line a little bit extra time to work to get to the quarterback. There were some numbers that I threw out about 6-8 weeks ago. And I want to say the average sack time was around 4 seconds, but the average time for get off through the quarterback was about 3 seconds. So you have to make up that second somewhere, right? If the average time, even for Danielle Hunter, was like 4.62 seconds or something like that, that's a long time, right? So you're not just getting to the quarterback right away. You're working to get to the quarterback. And that's where these DBs come in line, right? They have to be able to lock down, stick with these guys, and either make the quarterback do one of 2 things: hold it and get himself in trouble, or throw it away. I'll take either one. Throw it away, loss it down, no yards gained, line up, do it again. Or hold it, get sacked. Or hold it, scramble, make a bad decision, throw an interception. Those are the 3 main outcomes that you're looking for when you address a defensive line like the Lions did this offseason, and then backed it up through the draft with some really solid corners in the draft and free agency. So really exciting season ahead for us. New defensive line coach, Terrell Williams. Head coach Dan Campbell and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn have both expressed their high confidence in Williams, who both consider him one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL. His experience and coaching style are anticipated to significantly benefit the Lions defensive linemen this season. As far as the revamped defensive lineup, we're looking at a projected starting lineup for the Detroit Lions to include DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, of course, Aiden Hutchinson, and Aleem McNeil. And when you look at what's behind them, you have John Kaminsky, Josh Paschal. Who else is behind them? Bradrick Martin, Wingo. You've got plenty of guys, Mitchell Agudi. You got plenty of guys that can step in and be great rotational players. But we have probably one of the better starting casts of defensive lines in the league. As long as these guys can stay healthy, get started in week 1 with being disruptive, I think that sky's the limit for this defense. DJ Reader's background. Look, he comes from the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think that's any secret by now. He established himself as a very reliable and impactful player. He faced some injury challenges, each of the last 3 seasons or so. In 2023, though, he bounced back from an injury with a very solid performance. He earned an average grade of 81.3 by Pro Football Focus over the past 4 seasons. His ability to stop the run is highly valued and coveted. His presence is expected to elevate the Lions' defensive performance overall. And beyond his on-field capabilities, what we are seeing right now is DJ Reader as the mentor, his mentorship role that he's committed to helping develop these younger players, particularly defensive tackle Bradrick Martin, which we have already spoken about. So Reader has emphasized his willingness to help his teammates improve, demonstrating his leadership both on and off the field. With all that said, Eric, when you look at how this defense is starting to come together, it's season 4 for Dan Campbell, season 4 for Brad Holmes, season 4 for Aaron Glenn. And you know what's crazy is it's season 4 for just about every single positional coach that we brought in since day one, minus, some of the DB coaches that have been let go, like Aubrey Pleasant. It is almost unheard of to be able to keep all of your positional coaches in line from year to year, season to season, especially your offensive and defensive coordinator. How do you think it's going to help this team get to that ultimate level of reaching and winning a Super Bowl in 2024 versus other teams that are constantly having some shifts, right, in momentum by having to change coordinators? Look, the Lions have been dealt a very bad hand for many decades of consistent changes. When you're changing the guard consistently, it's very difficult to stay in a rhythm. Having to learn a new offense or defense every other season, every third season, heck, even every season, it's not easy to do. They typically stay, or state that 2 to 3 seasons after a new offense or defensive coordinator comes in, you can finally get to a point of being comfortable. How can you get comfortable if you're changing it every 2 to 3 years? Now we're not. We're finally seeing continuity. So how do you feel that's going to take us to the next level?
I really do think it's going to take us to the next level. Listen, these guys trust each other, and this is built just like I talk about Chicago not building their team, they're buying their team. It's the same thing with the coaches. We are building a winner, and that speaks to culture more than anything, is that people are sticking around and people want to be here. They're not necessarily wanting to go see what the sunshine is like out in California. They kind of like the sunshine right here in Michigan. So just looking at our offensive coordinator, he didn't want to leave because he wanted to prove something. And he wanted to prove it here, not somewhere else. It's going to make for not only a great team, but it's going to make for a great coaching staff of that team that can really, really take this to a new level. We've never in the history of the Lions ever had a head coach, a defensive coordinator, and an offensive coordinator for this many seasons in a row. I can guarantee we've never had 3 or 4 seasons of all 3 main coaches the same. It just doesn't happen. They always switch something. They're always noodling. They're always twitching and trying to make something better. Well, instead of bringing in a whole new person and a whole new system, let's stick with the guys we have, and that's trust. So there were so many people calling for AG's head the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like they wanted AG gone so bad, and I am glad that Dan Campbell saw something in Aaron Glenn that he knows he's doing it right. He just doesn't have all the pieces yet. Well, now I think he has all the pieces. The pieces are finally coming together. And then having players come in like DJ Reader that we did buy. But he's different. He's coming in wanting to be a player coach and basically already knows our defense before he even steps foot on the field. So this could be huge. This could be the final missing piece that we need to get us over the top.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% on board with all that. I think we've had 3 years of consistency. I don't know that we've ever had 4. I know we've had head coaches longer than 3 and 4 years, but having this
would be number 4, right? This would be year 4.
This is 4. This is 4. Yeah. And I think that, having what makes the difference is having the positional coaches stay static as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big difference for me. A couple of questions and statements in here. Tracy says Williams will be taking over for AG one day. I mean, that's great forethought. If you think about, the fact that AG has kind of been hunted, for head coaching opportunities. At some point, he's going to get plucked. At some point, he's going to go. Same thing with Ben Johnson. And to your point on Ben Johnson, his statement, he wanted the sunshine a little bit longer. He loves what's going on in Detroit. They started something, they want to finish it. His family is happy here. He's fine where he's at. Maybe he just loves being an offensive coordinator, doing the job that he's doing versus being a head coach. Or maybe, he's seen the opportunities that were in front of him. Maybe those opportunities weren't what he was looking for, because sometimes you bring in coaches to go through a transition period, right? Not to be the period. Does that make sense? Dan Campbell was brought in to go through probably a transitional period at first, quickly proved he was going to be the guy to bring him through everything. So some coaches, they're brought in for a couple years. They know that they're going to be under fire, crappy team, total rebuild. Not many coaches make it out of that, with their skin still intact. So for the fact that Dan Campbell was able to get through the complete gut job and rebuild, and now he's ended up on the other side of it, speaks volumes to him as a coach. The fact that Ben Johnson is sticking around because he sees what this organization is all about from top to bottom, left to right. This team is an incredible team all the way around. I wouldn't want to go anywhere either. If you're having this much success, do you really need to go get a pay increase and a title increase? Maybe not. Maybe you just want to be happy. Maybe you're happy with what you're doing and you just want to sit there and enjoy it and be part of something great. The alternative to that is a lot more stress, a lot more sleepless nights, rebuilding an entire team. Maybe that's just not in the cards for him right now. I don't think there's any other reason than, what he said, which is he just wanted to remain in the sunshine, a little bit longer. AG, for whatever reason, there's been quite a few people calling for his head. I was kind of on the other side of that, I think it was a point of no excuses season this year, where, I always felt that we were half a season away, or we were half a season ahead. We needed that fourth draft. We needed the personnel to give AG an opportunity to succeed on this defense. Largely, Brad Holmes, he attacked the defensive line in year one, but he brought in a lot of players that were developmental type players. He didn't bring in players that were like bona fide starters day one. You pretty much got those guys in the first round. And we've got a lot of offensive guys, and I don't know the breakdown, but I feel like we got more offensive guys over the last couple of drafts than we really have defensive guys. Aiden Hutchinson, is obviously our first round pick in 22. And then right after that, we had Jamison Williams. And then last year we had Jahmyr Gibbs, and then we had Jack Campbell. This year we got Terrian Arnold in the first round and Ennis Rakestraw in the second round. So defensive guys finally. In year one, who do we get in year one? We got Penei Sewell, offensive line. And I think that was our only first round pick. Who was our second first round pick? I can't remember right now.
We didn't have the first year. That was the second
year. Okay. So I think what I'm trying to say here is AG wasn't given a full complement of players that he could utilize on the defensive side of the ball. And we definitely didn't go out and buy them in free agency until this past season. I mean, this past season, they really went hard on the defense and they showed it by Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis and DJ Reader. They went hard on the defensive side of the ball. Last year they tried with Mosley and CJ Gardner, failed attempt. Great idea, failed. It failed because Mosley got injured, and it failed because CJ Gardner got injured. If they both would have remained healthy, who knows what would have happened last year. This year, there was no approach to say, we're not going to find out. We're not going to wait to find out. We're going to do it now. And the fact that they got DJ Reader for 2 seasons at a fairly bargain level contract speaks volumes to what they're able to do in Detroit different than other teams have been able to do. The fact that we have $40 million in cap space speaks volumes to what they're able to do. And I kind of said that, 6-8 weeks ago when I said, hey, don't worry about the cap number now. They can always make money. They can always somehow figure out a way to get money available. And they did. I mean, they've done an excellent job. A couple more statements in here. What do we got in here? Tracy's on the no excuse train for AG. And I think that's what it is, right? I think it's just no excuses now that he has some players. The only thing that I'll give him one out on is he's got rookie DBs and he has an injured DJ Reader right now. But other than that, Marcus Davenport should be decent as long as he stays healthy. DJ Reader should be crazy good as long as he stays healthy. And the rest of the guys around them should get better because there's now more guys that teams have to focus on. So this is the season. I believe that this is the season that things are really going to click for the Lions all the way around. Both sides of the ball are going to be great. Not that we weren't last year, but there was obviously a lot of work to do in the pass defense. Chef Talks Lions is in the house. Good morning, Chef. How you doing? Yeah, the notification was probably a little bit late. Let's see here. Mike P says Ben Johnson said his young family is very happy and adjusted to being in Detroit. It's home. And to a coach who has a young family, doesn't want to go moving around, sometimes family does come first. I can appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Mike P says, I think Williams will use McNeil, will move around a lot more like Donald was used in LA. It'd be interesting to see what kind of condition McNeil is going to be in this year. So a little bit more on Terrell Williams, unless you have something you want to add.
I'm kind of wondering about this Wingo kid because everybody keeps comparing him to the body type of Aaron Donald. Is he going to come into camp and are they going to use him as an Aaron Donald type player? Are they going to try to mold him into that mold? What's going on with him? Because I didn't hear anything about him in OTAs whatsoever. I didn't hear anything about Manu or Betts during OTAs. Well, Betts just a little bit. So I'm really interested in seeing some of these other guys, the 6th round picks, Vaki and all these other guys. I really want to see what everybody's doing. Not just Terry and Arnold, and Rakestraw too. I can't wait to see what that kid can do, but he had core muscle surgery in the offseason, so they're bringing him along very slowly.
Yeah, and I think that's the point too. The slower you progress these guys, the better. But let me wrap up Terrell Williams real quick. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit more information, a little comprehensive profile here on Terrell Williams. He brings a wealth of experience to the Detroit Lions with a robust coaching history that includes successful stints with the Miami Dolphins and Tennessee Titans, known for his expertise in developing defensive linemen, which is so incredibly important to Bradrick Martin and Mekhi Wingo at this stage in their careers. Even DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil. Look, the coaching is never done. The learning is never done. They will get better under Williams. Williams was instrumental in nurturing talents like Jeffrey Simmons and Tyre Tart during his tenure with the Titans. He has a coaching philosophy that centers on building strong relationships with his players and emphasizing discipline and technique above all else. His ability to connect with players on and off the field has earned him very high praise throughout his career, and he is considered one of the best defensive line coaches in the league. This connection is crucial in extracting the best performance from his players, both individually and as a cohesive unit. To say it another way, when you are critical on somebody and you have to critique somebody, we call it constructive criticism, right? It would be very different if I just met one of you for the very first time. We didn't know each other from Adam. You've never watched my show, nothing. And we're on the same field together and you're doing something, right? Well, whatever, we're doing something. and I just start saying, hey man, you need to do this and this and this, and I saw this and this could get better, you're going to look at me with a side eye and be like, who in the F is this guy? Right? No relationship built, no connection. The difference is he wants to build connections with these guys so that when he does have to critique them, when he does have to get a little bit more loud and boisterous with his, explaining of technique or things that players are doing wrong, they trust the guy. They respect the man first, right? Respect is earned. It's not given. So building a connection with his players is extremely important to Terrell Williams. Impact on the Detroit Lions. So already since joining the Detroit Lions, we've already seen some impacts with players like Bradrick Martin, who have surrounded himself around the right people, right? DJ Reader is impacting him already. But the fact that Bradrick Martin feels comfortable about Terrell Williams and the fact that he's coached guys like him, he's worked with guys like him, he knows exactly what they need to get better. They've already built trust in that manner. But even dating back to his prior connection with head coach Dan Campbell in the Miami Dolphins, it's facilitated what is a seamless integration into the Lions. Williams' strategic insights and experience are expected to elevate the Lions' defensive capabilities, particularly in stopping the run, which they were one of the best teams to do it last year. I think they were ranked number 2 against the run, but also enhancing pass rush efficiency. And back to somebody's question earlier, what was the comparison between, the efficiency in interceptions to pressures to sacks? Efficiency is everything. And we'll touch on that subject. I'll do a video on it potentially today. We'll see how time goes today. So kind of my conclusion about Terrell Williams here is the Detroit Lions defensive line is poised for a significant breakthrough season. The additions with the leadership of Terrell Williams and his proven track record, I feel they're going to be very innovative for this Lions defensive line moving forward. But the defense as a whole, right? I mean, they still work together with all the different positions working together. He has to be instrumental in helping develop plans, working with the defensive backs, on timing, and the linebackers on timing. There's a lot of things that go on here that Terrell Williams is going to be able to help this team progress quickly with. So his competitive nature is bar none, top of the level. The guy competes at a high level each and every day. As the team prepares for this upcoming season, I think that us as fans can really look forward to seeing more of a dynamic and resilient defensive front this season, which is what I'm most excited about. Anything you want to add to that, Eric?
Not really. But looking in the comments here, Michael Lucchis put, although he was known for drops, Eric Ebron made a catch this morning of charges after breaking a 7-Eleven glass door in Dallas. It's kind of funny if it's real. I don't know. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find anything. Nothing from Adam Schefter or any of the big guys. But
I don't know if they would report on that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't even think he's in the league anymore, is he?
I don't know.
He was playing for the Colts there for a while. Yeah. Oh, God.
Kind of dropped him like a bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, moving forward. DJ Reader's injury history. So I wanted to touch on this real quick this morning, just so everyone's aware of what DJ Reader has had to go through and why maybe there was concern about him being added to this team. I'm not really that worried. I'm just worried, that he's had some pretty significant injuries, both sides, with the quad tear. So in 2020, he had a left quad tear. He suffered a torn quad tendon in his left leg during week 5, ending his season, obviously. He did manage to return to form in 2021, which really highlights his resiliency, right? His work ethic, his determination as a player. In 2022, he had a knee injury. So Reader missed 6 games due to a knee injury. It's undefined knee injury. I couldn't find any more information than that. Despite this setback, though, he did play in 14 games that season, which really showed his ability to bounce back from injuries and contribute significantly to his team's defensive overall goals. So what you're realizing is that even though he has a setback, he comes back stronger, right? He comes back ready to go. He doesn't just kind of throw in the towel and, it is what it is. No, he fights to get back. This is what he loves to do. He loves to play football. And then last season, week 15, Reeder tore his quad tendon again, this time in the right leg. This injury was an exact mirror of the 2020 left quad injury, but was reported as less severe. So that's a good note. Reeder has been optimistic about his recovery, citing a better initial response to surgery and a strong belief in his ability to return to his pre-injury form. His positive outlook and experience with similar rehab processes suggests that he can overcome this challenge as well. I have no qualms, issues with DJ Reeder and his injury. I think that the only thing I worry about is the healing factor and the fact that he doesn't come back too early, doesn't push it too early. We have enough guys on this team. We didn't have DJ Reeder last year. We got the same guys on this team this year. So there's no real reason why the Lions need to push him. I think that if he gets in week 1, he gets in week 1. If he gets in week 4, he gets in week 4. For me, I think that err on the side of caution is better. We need him for the long run, right? If you look at the floor, Eric, if we need to win 13 games, okay, out of a 17-game season, then that means he needs to hit the ground running by week 5. That's it. If we want to win 13 in a row, even if we were to lose the first 4 for some reason, which won't happen. So he just needs to be in by week 4 or 5, and I think we'll be okay. So slow walk the process here, get him back, get him healthy, and let's go do the darn thing here in 2024. So Reeder's injury history has been undeniable to the impact on his career, but he's very consistent in performance post-recovery. So post-injury, his performance is bar none. His numbers are there. He's proven why he's one of the better defensive tackles in the league. Despite the injuries, he's maintained a very high level of play. Anything on DJ Reeder there?
Yeah, so I got a little question for you. So during the Super Bowl year where the Bengals went to the Super Bowl and played the Rams, correct? A couple years ago?
I think
and they lost to the Rams. Yeah.
Right.
Was DJ Reeder part of that Super Bowl team where he actually played, or was he injured? I think he got injured right before the Super Bowl and wasn't able to play in it. So either way, don't you think that's like fuel for his fire, knowing that he can go to a team that can possibly get to a Super Bowl? In his mind, he thinks this team is Super Bowl bound. He wants to get back and he wants to win a Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you?
So the Super Bowl season, you're talking about 2021, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because that's when Stafford won the Super Bowl. Was
Yeah.
the first season that he was traded to the Rams.
Yep.
Now, Reeder didn't have an injury in 2021.
So I couldn't remember if he got hurt late in that season or not.
Let me take a look here.
But if he got to play in all that and got to play in the Super Bowl and everything and came up short, man, that's just going to give him so much fuel for his fire to burn and get back to the Super Bowl and actually win the darn thing. We need a couple of those guys that have been there and felt the pain of not winning the Super Bowl to go along with all our guys that feel the pain of not winning the NFC North or the NFC Championship game, excuse me.
So I think everything is telling me that he played in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if he did or not.
I mean, I'm not. I haven't found anything yet, but I think that he played in all 4 games in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look up the Super Bowl.
But the guy, him playing on the Bengals, he knows what it takes to beat Mahomes. He knows what it takes to beat the Bills. The 2 big contenders to Cincinnati. I think he really has a comfortable feeling of what it takes to get to a Super Bowl and what it takes to win a Super Bowl, because he didn't win the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, I think the thing is being on that side of the NFL really bodes well for what the Lions are trying to do. You know, that's something that I spoke to, earlier in the offseason. I don't know if it's intentional. Brad Holmes says it's intentional, but I don't know if this is intentional, that he has largely gone out and brought in players from teams that have played against the teams that we're playing this year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I make that make sense?
Teams.
Yeah. So the teams that these players formerly played for, Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis, DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, when you look at their previous schedules and who they went up against, that's exactly who we're playing this year. So they have a lot of information from last year's prep on these teams that we're playing this year. And they've played them multiple times, whether they were divisional matchups or whatever, So I find that having to be somewhat intentional, especially when you look at the DB room. Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson have gone up against all the receivers that we're going to face this year, all but maybe two teams. I found that to be a very interesting stat. So DJ Reader did have a sack in the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
He had one sack, one tackle, one TFL. So it must have been all the same play. TFL, a sack, all in the same play. So yeah, he played all 4 games in the postseason. I don't know his exact stats, but I mean, look, they lost by 3. Yep. They kept LA to 23. I mean, you guys know what my golden number is. You've got to keep teams under 20 to win, right? The Rams kept the Bengals at 20. They won. That's been my golden number for years now. You got to keep teams under 20. So there's an over-under stat for us. The Lions defense this year is going to keep, on average, teams under 20 points. Over or under?
Ooh, that's tough.
Yep.
That's really tough, because if we're averaging 25 to 27 on offense, as long as we keep them under 24, we should be okay. So I'm going to say 24 is what the defense is going to do this year.
Let me try to look at some numbers here. Points against, defensive stats in 23. Ravens averaged 15.5. Chiefs 15.8. Niners 17.1. Bills 18.1. Cowboys 18.1. Steelers 18.4. Raiders 19.1. Now, even though my golden number is hit here quite a bit, some of these teams didn't have the offensive prowess to be able to go in and win these games. The defense might have been good, but their offense was crap. The Lions 22.1. Is that what I'm finding here? We averaged 22.1 points per game against. I thought the number was higher.
I might have to change my number then.
I don't know if this is Fox Sports reporting this, so yeah, I'd have to go in and look at all the other stats. Hold on here, set a message. So, all right, moving on here. I think it's a great conversation to have. I'm going to go with the optimism here. I think the Lions will do it. If this number's legit, 22.1 points a game against, I think the Lions will do it. I'm going to call 19.9 points per game.
Yep.
That's my call.
Shave 2 or 3 off from last year. Oh, I could easily see us doing 2 or 3 points a game better, because that's one turnover, that's one defensive stop, not letting them get that long field goal because we stop them on 3rd down. We need more of that. And I truly believe our defense is going to be better this year. It might not be better right away, but I believe by midseason it will be much improved over last season.
All right. So if this is accurate, I'm looking at Pro Football Reference right now, which is one of my go-to sites. So 280 divided by 17 is 16.5. And the Ravens, according to Fox Sports, gave up 15.5. Now, that's just regular season. So either Pro Football Reference is wrong or Fox Sports is wrong. But according to Pro Football Reference, there was 280 points scored against the Ravens. Of course, they played in 17 games. That would be 16.5. So either Fox Sports is fudging some numbers or something's not right. So 294 points for Kansas City. That would be 17.29 points per game. And Fox Sports has 15.8. So that this can't be right. Let me look at the Lions here. 395 points.
Just
23
imagine our defense only giving up 17 or 18 points a game. My God, that'd be so awesome because you know our offense is going to get 24, 27 points a game, somewhere in that range. You know, my
so
God.
the Lions averaged 23.23 points per game against the defense. And that might be more of a realistic number. I know in 2022 it was really tight. I think it was like 25.7 that we gave up, and we put up like 26.6. So barely separated by, 1 point, made it very difficult to win games. You have to be separated by more than a field goal at least to win more games. Obviously, if you're separated by 4 points, that means that you're able to win, more than lose. I mean, it depends on how steep or deep you want to go with the stats too. But if the Lions gave up 23.23 points per game with the addition of DJ Reader, if everybody stays healthy, that's the caveat. Everyone's got to stay healthy. Lions are going to give up 19.9 points per game or less this year, I guess is my overtake on the day. All right, let's look at what we got left. We got left for topics today.
One thing a lot of the fans of other teams, especially Packer and Bear fans and Vikings fans, they all call us frauds and say that we're like, they say like we're like the Vikings of the year before, that we got lucky on all these games and that there's no way we're going to repeat and win the division again this year. But I look at this, the Vikings had a horrible point differential. Their defense gave up almost as much as their offense scored. They got really lucky and just barely won a bunch of games. Our point differential from last year was much, much better. And I think our point differential this year is going to be even better than last year.
Yeah, so I don't think that we're frauds. And I think that when you look at the totality of last season, how can you call a team a fraud when they're consistently putting up bunches of points? We had one, maybe two really bad games. The Ravens game obviously was a stinker, and the second Packers game was pretty bad. Our offensive line was getting thrashed. I think the most demoralizing game was the Seahawks game in week 2. Like that was a game we shouldn't have lost, period. They had way too many key players out on their offensive line. We couldn't do anything. But those are probably the 3 games, that I would call during the regular season are the games to look at and correct the most. Why was your offensive line getting thrashed against the Packers on Thanksgiving? And, why couldn't you do anything against a Seahawks team that was fairly decimated? And then the Ravens, I mean, they completely shut us down on every facet of the game. So those are the 3 games that I think that I would take a hard look at for the regular season. Obviously, we know what happened in the NFC title game, which was a multi-complex issue. There was too many things going on there. Too many things.
Brent says Eric gets to hear all the crap in the UP. They are mean up there. Yeah, they're mean to Lions fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely can't call a team a fraud when they're consistent. I think that when we call the Vikings frauds, it was because they weren't consistent, and they proved that they were frauds by what?
by losing last year. Last year
They
was
got
awful.
well, no, it was the year before, so they got bounced. Yeah. They got bounced in the playoffs.
Yeah, by the Giants, who were horrible.
So they won a lot of games by magic at the end of the game, and that's luck, right? That's luck that you're able to come back from a lot of games and win. You know, that was the story of the Lions for a decade with Matthew Stafford. The only games that we seemed to win were, you know, the 40+ fourth quarter, you know, comeback wins put on his back to go, you know, win us the game. So those are luck games. I mean, it takes talent, right? It takes coaching, it takes all those things, but it took a little, you know, a little bit of luck too. And I think that the Vikings proved they were frauds by doing what they did in the playoffs. They just, you know, we knew it was going to happen. The Lions would have been frauds if they would have came in and lost against the LA Rams at home in week 1 playoffs. So they didn't. They won. They barely won, but they won. Yep. Still probably going to go down as the best game I think I've ever witnessed at Ford Field. It does top the Monday night Chicago game. The biggest thing is my hearing. Like I guess I really can't hear. Which hopefully I get that figured out on the 12th. Ever since I started podcasting, the hearing's been all messed up. But anyway, lastly, Sam LaPorta. Let's talk about Sam LaPorta, his keys to duplicating a big rookie season. This was an article that came out by Max Demara, new guy, never read his stuff before. I don't read a ton of stuff, but I do catch some things. But Sam LaPorta burst onto the scene in 2023, as we all know, making 1 Pro Bowl while going for 889 yards on 10 touchdowns, you know, and an NFL rookie tight end record, 86 receptions. That doesn't mean he is prepared to rest on his laurels at all heading into year 2. Much like most of the Detroit Lions teammates, LaPorta is striving to duplicate his big rookie season. LaPorta had this to say: I think that everybody's got something to prove this year. You guys see around the building, like Jared Goff. He's going into year 8 or 9, maybe 10. He's been around the block a gazillion times, and you still see him with a chip on his shoulder. So rookie or veteran, it doesn't really matter. We are all just working hard, trying to add a little value. Little? Come on, Sammy. You added a ton of value last year. So going into his second season, LaPorta feels better due to having a year of experience underneath his belt, as well as a full off season now to hone in his craft. And he had this to say: I wouldn't say comfortable, because I know what it takes to compete and really thrive at this level, but I've been there. I've done it. I know what it takes. And we got guys around the building that I can really lean on that have had success in the past. I can ask Amon-Ra St. Brown, hey, how did you bounce back after a great year, after year, after year? I'm glad he threw that in. Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, go down the list. I have a lot of resources in the organization that I can ask those types of questions to, which I think is paramount to any rookie success, right? And I think that's the difference for the Detroit Lions is the level of veteran leadership in this building. They have guys that have had great success at their positional group. Maybe they haven't had great success in the NFL because of the teams they've been a part of until this last season. So now they're all kind of together in that same level of success rate, right? I mean, they all have won a couple of playoff games now. They've been to an NFC title game now. They have that experience, which I think is paramount every season to lean on your past year's experience. But when you have an experience like that, now you know what it takes to get there. How did my body feel week 1 of playoffs, right? How did it feel? Was I really banged up? What could I have done differently throughout the season to make sure that I was ready for the long playoff run? Because it can be a long or short playoff, hopefully long playoff run. So I think that you lean on those things, right? You lean on your own experience. You know, what did the training staff give me week 8, you know, as far as exercises or rehab plans that really helped me? What did I do to my knees to really bounce back that week that I had that injury? can I use that throughout the season? I think that those are the types of things that these players lean on from their own experiences to be able to take it to the next level. LaPorta, when LaPorta was asks those players for advice, though, on how to maintain his elite status, what kind of information does he get is the question. And this is what he had to say. Rely on each other. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but know that you have to have a certain sense of urgency to get better a little bit every day. And this is the type of stuff that transitions into training camp, then the preseason, and then the games that actually matter. You may see us running around here without pads on and just our helmets, but it's another work day for us, and it's one more banked rep. You see us getting it after practice. You see us doing it in individual, then into groups, and then in the team setting. We just take everything really seriously and know what it's going to translate at some point, or know that it's going to translate at some point. Great information for Sam LaPorta. Just go get it, dude. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, if you want to follow a guy around and really learn from what they do, he already knows. Amon-Ra St. Brown's the guy. That's the guy you emulate. That's the guy that you take everything that he's doing and you do it. You know, and that would be my only key for JMO this year is, are you working as hard as Amon-Ra St. Brown? If you're not going to get to that next level. And he needs to work that hard. And Dan Campbell said he was the most improved, player coming in, off the off season. So Sam LaPorta, I really believe is going to be just fine this year. I don't think he's going to have a major sophomore slump, but 800 yards, 8 TDs, that's my bench for the guy. I think that if he does anything more than that, that's just icing on the cake. But I think that he's going to be just fine. What do you think?
Yeah, like he was saying in the interview that he did the other day that last year he had to learn everybody's names, 90 players, all these coaches. He didn't know where the practice facility was. He didn't know the plays. He didn't know the playbook. And he said that this year he's hitting the ground running right now. There's no pressure on him to learn all the plays. He knows all the plays. There's no pressure on him to learn everybody's names. He knows everybody. He's got to learn 6 rookies and some of the free agents. Now he's able to focus on what he should be focusing on, and that's getting better at the plays he already knows and getting more comfortable with Goff and just hitting the ground, running so fast that maybe he can even eclipse what he did last year. Wouldn't that be awesome? I really, truly believe that this kid has the potential to be the absolute best tight end in the league. He has the potential to do it because last year, seeing what he did as a rookie blew me away. And he was actually kind of hurt at the end. If you remember, he had to have that knee brace on for the playoffs. And we didn't even know if he was going to play in that first playoff game. And I think if he would have been fully healthy, he may have done even more.
Yeah.
Might have been a lot better even than what he did if he had not injured that knee. And he got lucky. He didn't have to have off-season knee surgery. He said he didn't have to have any cleanup or anything on that knee. So he got really, really lucky with his knee. Just had to wear it for a while.
I think that he still played well in all of the playoff games. I really believe that he's a different breed. Like last year I always called him, goofy. Like he's super goofy. He's funny.
Yep.
He's just one of those characters, I think, in the locker room that really helps to kind of elevate the mood. But when it comes time to put the work in and you listen to him speak, he doesn't get caught up about me. He's all about the team. And I think that's pretty impressive coming from a young guy. And again, I know that you get a lot of people that say, the culture is this and the culture is that. And, are the Lions really focused on building culture? Is culture enough? It is. I think culture is the baseline for a team's success. If you don't start with good culture, if you don't start, with a good team identity, how are you going to be able to focus all of your energy, to becoming something great? You can't. You have to start somewhere. So quick mentions here. We've got giveaways coming up. So we've gained quite a few subscribers, over 100 from just one video the other day, which has helped us get to this 5,000 mark that we're closing in on. So at 5,000, we give our first giveaway, for this season 2. Season 2 starts in June. So every June, I'm going to start a new season. So this is part of the new season. I'll have to name things later, but season 2 is upon us. Last year gave away more than $11,000 in giveaways. This channel definitely doesn't bring in that kind of money through donations and other, but you guys did an excellent job with sending in donations. 100% of donations go back to the fan. Obviously, some of it goes to wherever it goes for their fees, but 100% of what this channel brings in is turned around and then put back out towards the fans. So I've already purchased 50 mini helmets, working with Prozone Sports in Livonia. Excellent place. Please visit them if you guys want to amplify your Lions gear or your Lions memorabilia. Check them out. Pro Sports Zone in Livonia. So we've already got the helmets ordered. I'll probably go pick them up tomorrow. So once we hit 5,000, the first helmet's going to be given away. We got Panay Sewell and we have Chris Spielman. Certificate of authenticity comes with it. In case you're wondering what the helmets will look like, and I'll get more of these too if you guys want Billy Sims ones. But I got, the Billy Sims here. These are what the helmets will look like. So they're the mini helmets. This is obviously Oklahoma, so it won't be in Oklahoma. But they'll, I do have a few of these. I think I got 6 of these for each of the old school one from last year.
I like that.
Obviously, we got the new ones that are not made yet. I don't know if the new mini helmets are out yet, but if we get the new mini helmets, we'll get some of those too. But anyway, at 5,000, we're going to give our first one away. You have to be subscribed to the channel. That's the only way you can win. If you're not subscribed, you can't win. I don't know why you wouldn't want to subscribe anyway. I feel like we got some of the best content on YouTube, at least from the fan votes and the fan responses. I think that we do a pretty good job, but we, just like the Lions, we've always got room for improvement. If you guys think that we can do or add different types of content or suggestive, we'll be more than happy to install it. 5,000, I'm giving away the first helmet, and then every 500, we're giving away a helmet. Every 500. It doesn't mean it's the 5,000th subscriber. It doesn't mean it's the 5,500th subscriber. It's completely randomized on Facebook. So if you join the Rocked On Detroit Lions Facebook page, that page has been really growing over the past few weeks. We've got a social media expert now helping us with some new content, making it fun and energetic. We're running the same type of promotion over there. If you go and I think follow on Facebook, you'll be able to enter in some of those top engagement awards, and top engagements run every 30 days. So it's a little bit different. I could only hope to gain 500 subscribers on YouTube every month, but at least on Facebook, every 30 days, we're going to run a top engagement award, which could be helmets. They could be grab bags, gift bags, Lions gear, gift cards, you name it. We got all sorts of stuff that we're giving out. Grill covers. I still got like 100 grill covers I'm trying to give away. So like, share, subscribe. As many likes as we can get gets us out into new fans, in front of them. And that's the only thing that we ask from you guys. Over 120 people joined this morning on the live show. Great job, guys. Excellent job. My hands to you, because that means a lot. Late shows, getting scheduled late, and you guys are still showing up. So super appreciate it. Really appreciate it. The only way you could really help us out from there is just like, share, subscribe, and join us tomorrow morning. That's about it. So you guys are awesome. Anything you want to add this morning before we take off?
Well, I'm going to be gone for a week, so I will be back probably next Wednesday or Thursday. So, Will, you're going to be solo. And yeah, I'm going to have a great time in Vegas. You guys want to see me do anything out in Vegas, let me know. I'll try to get it done.
Yeah, I would be careful. I mean, what happens in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas, right?
Unless I leave something in Vegas.
You know, you should. You actually should. You know what you
That's what I
should
mean.
do? All right, I've got an idea for you.
Yeah.
I would either bring some Uper lights with you
Oh, I'm going to.
and or bring some Uper lights and some sort of a Detroit Lions, something that won't degrade, put it
Mhm.
into a little box, go into the mountains, geotag it, and hide it and make it part of a scavenger hunt, a Detroit Lions scavenger hunt, which is something I wanted to start. We're going to get everybody that's
Oh,
on
yeah.
the podcast that joins the shows to go out and bury something in the woods somewhere. We're going to have a Detroit Lions scavenger hunt nationwide. You know, they do those scavenger hunts where you can geotag things.
Yep.
So I think that would be cool. So while you're out there, go bury something for us.
I don't know if I'm going to get out of the town, out of the city. But yeah. Maybe I'll
You can bury it in the city. It doesn't have to be in the mountains.
Oh yeah. I can find a neat place to put something. Yeah. Maybe
Those
over at
things are fun.
Allegiant Stadium or something.
Yeah, there you go. Those things are fun, man. I've tried to participate. It's like grown-ups version of Pokemon.
Yep.
You know, you actually go out and find things and then add to it. So you bring something to add to it or replace it or whatever. I think it's fun. I think it's great.
Maybe a lion sticker will end up out in Vegas somewhere.
So good morning, Elizabeth. We're about ready to jump off. I did respond, I believe, to your text. So all of the trips, I tried to put them up last night. I'll get it done today. It was a rough day yesterday. I'll try to get it all done today. So as far as the trips go, they're going to go fast. If you guys want to get a part and be on these buses, we have to get tickets. We have to get deposits right away. Everything will be on Eventbrite. So you can either purchase in full there. And then if you want to do installments on the overnight trips, I can set that up through Fan Possible Stripe account or Buy Me a Coffee will also be set up with a way to make deposits. They take like 5% or something like that. So I'll have to eat those costs. But Eventbrite does have booking charges, just like every other booking agency does for tickets. It's not as much as Ticketmaster, but it can still be expensive. So that's it. That's it for today. Pay attention to some of the videos that'll be popping up. I'm going to be doing a video later today on the trips themselves. I'm going to break everything down, explain everything, and then that'll be posted as the main video for the channel. And that way you guys can get rolling. Deposits, we got about 12 days left before we got to get deposits in. So if you want to be a part of it, it's time to join. All right, you guys.
Here's one thing to think about real quick too, Will. Yep. A lot of people I've been talking to, telling them about these bus trips. It's almost cheaper to go on these bus trips than it is to go to Ford Field right now. If you look at the tickets right now on Ticketmaster for some of these games, my God, it's $300-$400 to sit in the nosebleeds, where for $400 something you can go to the Colts game.
The price is a little more than that, but yeah, it's close.
You can get the whole trip, you know what I mean? And it's almost cheaper to go to away games now than it is to go to Lions home games. I got my ticket for the San Fran game for $165.
Yeah, so the thought process behind all of this is to support our Lions on the away games and really show up, and the goal is to try to sit together. Some games we're not going to be able to sit together because the tickets are gone. Like, unless the team is holding tickets for them, they're gone. So we might sit in smaller blocks around the stadium, but the goal is to go and support this team on the road. But you're right. Some of these tickets to these events are just like sitting in, the 200s in Ford Field. You might pay $500-$600 a ticket. Well, you might pay close to that for a single day game to Chicago or the Colts or Green Bay, but you're getting a whole experience with it. So not every single one of them comes with the full tailgate because of timing. But they do come with, the other perks that are involved, the custom t-shirt, the grab bag, the raffle ticket, for the custom memorabilia. It's all described on Eventbrite. So you guys just got to check it out here. Let me post that I didn't mean to cut you off, so you can go ahead and continue whatever you want to
That's
say.
it. Just, hey, think about it. You know, for the same price that you pay for a ticket at Ford Field, you can go on an awesome trip and hang out with a bunch of us really cool Lions fans.
All super fans, man. We're all super
Yeah.
fans. So
Yeah.
you get to be on the super fan bus. You're all going to be super fans. That's just what we are.
Yeah.
You invest in something like this. I mean, how can you not be a super fan?
And Will, how you were talking about trying to come up with a persona for the games or whatever. I think I might have came up with what mine's going to be. Eric in chains. So I think I'm going to wear all my chains since I have so many of them. I'm just going to wear all of them to every freaking game. I'm just going to wear every chain I have. So I'm going to be Eric in chains. And I'm going to keep adding on and getting more and more chains.
How many chains do you have?
Oh, I don't know. Like 10 at least.
All right, so you're not 2 chains, you're 10 chains.
Yeah. So I'm going to get more though. Anytime I see a new one, I'm going to get them. I like them. The bigger, the better. They're awesome. I got a couple of light up ones, and I just got that new one, the new Superfan one from Big Willie.
So Tracy, I just posted the link. Yeah, the Texans one is the only one up. Indy trip is a day trip. Green Bay is a day trip. Chicago's a day trip. All the others are overnight trips. So obviously Texas is an overnight trip. Minnesota is an overnight trip. And the reason why is because of DOT regulations. These drivers have to either switch after 10 hours and then be off for X amount of hours before that they can, redrive. So, all right, we will, no, you're not lost on the site, Tracy, but here's the post again. That's for the Texans game. And I'll get the other ones up here in just a few hours. Shane Smith, you live in Texas? Well, hey, if you want to buy a ticket to the game and join us, at the tailgate, that would be great too. We're going to have a local barbecue catered in from a local barbecue restaurant, and it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fun trip, and looking forward to it. So we will see you guys. At least I will see you tomorrow morning. Tonight, I'll be on for Off the Cuff. It'll probably only be an hour show. I've got a lot of landscaping to try to get done today with this shoulder that doesn't want to work. Fun stuff. All right, you guys enjoy your Tuesday. Go have an excellent day. We'll see you back here tonight. Eric, enjoy your trip.
Yeah. Rock on, everybody. See you guys next week. I will be watching as much as possible, but tomorrow I'll be on a plane during the show, so I won't be tuning in until I get to Minneapolis, I think.
Just buy the Wi-Fi. All right, you guys. We'll see you later. Take care. Go Lions. One pride.
Yeah.